Hello. You should be persistent, right? In order to develop your skills and become a great guitar player, you should persist. Beyond all odds, you should practice, 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 and just keep on keeping on. That's a piece of advice that is actually valuable, but it can be disastrous if you don't combine it with another piece of insight or knowledge that I'm about to give you in this video. Because just think about it, if you want to go somewhere, but you're traveling in the wrong direction, then you can persist all you want. You're not going to get whatever it is you want. Yeah, we're making progress. Yeah, but, towards the wrong end, right? So we should be persistent, but we should also be intelligent. And that's where, we seem to stick sometimes to just one piece of advice. And then we think that, okay, if you're persistent enough, then eventually you will win through. Wrong, right? And so what do? Well, time is very essential whenever you're trying out something new. If you want to, practice scales, and somebody tells you, you just play them up and down, right? I used to do this exercise of 3-note per string scales, and the, diatonic, minor, major scales, and there are 7 different patterns. So I just played them like... all the way up the fretboard, and then down again. And I used to spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing this. And I really went nowhere, but I really became very, very good at... But that was not my end. That was not what I wanted. I wanted to be able to go... right? Wanted to move all over the place and be totally free. And that did not bring me to where I wanted to go. I would learn to do... right? And shift position whenever I got to the highest string, go back again, and so on. That was what I was learning. So I had to use another strategy in order to get to where I wanted to go, which is my program, Fretboard Freedom. A little ad for you there. And so I had to change my approach. I had to do something else. But I had to, put enough effort, enough time into the first strategy before I could see what I was getting out of it. Right? And that's the key. If you have a recipe, you have to leave the cake in the oven for an extended period of time in order to see if the recipe actually gives you the cake you want. But most people, when they practice something like alternate picking, for instance, they just hammer away at it. And they try all kinds of things, slanting the pick and, holding the different, maybe if I tighten up in my arm, and we try all kinds of strategies and expect to see a new result every day, every week. And then that is like, putting the cake into the oven and then going, 10 minutes pulling. Is it done yet? No. Okay, let's try and do something else. Put some more milk in. Then 10 minutes. Is it good? No, it's still, slime. Let's put it in again. Do something else. You have to give it time. And that's where persistence comes in. That if you believe what I say about any given subject, or you take some advice from another guitar teacher, and you say, oh, that makes sense, let me try that out. You give it enough time. Even though the first week you think, oh, this is not going to work, you keep the cake in the oven, right? And then you put enough time into that method, that recipe, that strategy, and then you keep practicing it. But at some point, you want to stop and say, am I getting any closer to Berlin, or am I getting farther away, right? You want to say, okay, is this giving me what I want? And I can't tell you when you've given it enough time. You have to become better and better and better at, but at least give it, depending on the strategy, give it a couple of weeks, right? Practicing in the same way, or sometimes a month. I spent 3 months practicing something that didn't really work because I wasn't aware of the fact that I have to be very conscious about the strategy I'm using. Is it going to work? Is it going to give me what I want? And what do I want? Do I want to learn to play? Or do I want to learn to play? Be free all over the fretboard? Or maybe I want to practice that directly, right? So please be aware of that. And so it's always a matter of judgment. And I cannot be at your side and say, you need to stop that right now and figure out a new strategy and try something else and then persist with that. Right? And then, so you have to do it yourself. You have to be a scientist in the lab, figuring out how much time do you need to give each individual advice or method before you try to change it, pick up on some new advice and try that. But when it comes to the overall thing with the guitar, right, persistence is just the number one rule. You must persist here. You must keep on keeping on, but How you keep on, how you practice, what you do is another thing. You need to give those methods time as well. But on an overall level, if you persist and you're flexible and you try new things and you give those time enough in order to see if they're actually working or not, if you do that and you keep on keeping on, then I assure you, you will get to the point you want to go to. If you did, there's just no way. Anyone who ever got what they wanted did that. Any top player did that. So you can't find a guy who didn't do that, who has what he wants on this instrument. It's not possible, right? So I hope you'll take this into consideration and then start to reflect on what you did in the past and what you might do in the future.